Hi, my name is Adam Aiman bin Abdul Razak. I am from MAC 2202A for Economy 415. Now I am going to talk on the impact of COVID-19 towards the supply and demand of crude oil in the world. COVID-19 is an infectious disease caused by a novel coronavirus now called severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2. The World Health Organization declared the COVID-19 outbreak as a global outbreak health emergency. The COVID-19 pandemic in Malaysia is part of the ongoing worldwide pandemic and confirmed to have reached Malaysia in late January 2020 by the travelers from China. The world economy is extremely unstable during the early phase of this pandemic. The oil price crashed to negative for the first time in human history. This is all because of people can't go out to spend their money to create demand and supplies. Alright, for now, I will tell you what is the definition of demand. Demand in economic is consumers' desire and ability to purchase a good or service. It's the underlying force that drives economic growth and expansion. Without demand, no businesses would ever produce anything. And the second thing is the law of demand. What is the law of demand? The law of demand is one of the most fundamental concepts in economics. It works with the law of supply to explain how market economics allocate resources and determine the prices of goods and services that we observe in everyday transactions. The law of demand states the quantity purchased varies inversely with price. Supply is the willingness and ability of producers to create goods and services to take them to the market. Supply is positively related to price, given that at higher prices there is an incentive to supply more, as higher prices may generate increased revenue and profits. What is the law of supply? The law of supply is the microeconomic law that states that all other factors being equal, as the price of goods or services increase, the quantity of goods or services that suppliers offer will increase, and vice versa. The law of supply says that the price of an item goes up, suppliers will attempt to maximize their profits by increasing the quantity offered for sale. On April 2020, the pandemic coronavirus has shocked the world with the worst tragedy in all market history. Since the world is in the great lockdown, people cannot go out to run their business and to generate the economy. The fall of demand has got the US oil price turned negative for the first time on record on Monday after oil producers ran out of space to store the oversupply of crude oil by the coronavirus crisis, triggering an historic market collapse which left oil traders reeling. The price of US crude oil crashed from $18 a barrel to negative $38 in a matter of hours, as rising stockpiles of crude threatened to overwhelm storage facilities and force oil producers to pay buyers to take the barrels they could not store. The market crash underlined the impact of the coronavirus outbreak on oil demand as the global economy slumps. On Tuesday, prices rebounded above zero, with the US benchmark West Texas Intermediate (WTI) for May changing hands at $110 a barrel after closing at negative $37 in New York on Monday. In this case, falling oil prices are not sufficient to increase the economic growth because other factors keep growth low. Also, if oil prices fall sufficiently, it can cause some oil firms to go out of business, and this cause rise in bad debts. The crash in oil prices in 2020 is indicative of the economic recession, and prices have fallen so far that many oil firms will be forced out of business, causing job losses and falling investment. Also, falling oil prices will have differing effects depending on the country. All importing countries will generally benefit from the oil lower prices, but developing economies who rely on oil exports could see a significant fall in export revenue. The oil price fall in March-April 2020 has pushed oil to its lowest prices for many years. Usually, a fall in oil prices would be greeted by consumers and firms due to lower price and cost. However, this fall is due to expectation to a sharp drop in travel and economic recession from the coronavirus. Therefore, there is little expectation that the lower oil prices will have any positive economic growth. If people cut back on travel, cheaper petrol doesn't make much difference. If people see a fall in income because they are out of work, cheaper oil prices are only a small compensation. It is basically the economy cannot run as usual like before. The immediate and urgent priority for oil exporters is to mobilize the necessary resources to mitigate the direct health, social, and economic effects of the COVID-19 related shock. Several oil exporters have already announced fiscal packages to this effect, mainly focused on increases in healthcare spending and various forms of income support and tax relief. The active fiscal response may need to be relatively large, particularly where automatic stabilizers, for example unemployment insurance, and developed social assistance schemes are underdeveloped. Fiscal policies should be also coordinated with monetary, exchange rate, and financial policies. In-depth guidance on appropriate immediate fiscal policy measures can be found. In conclusion, demand and supply is the fundamental and very important to economy. Without demand and supply, nothing could generate the economy and to run our business. Therefore, my hope for 2021 is we can do better to generate the economy and moving towards to Industry Revolution 4.0.